for sticking around. We reconvened from the executive session. No decision was made in the executive session. So, I have any other comments, questions? I will, ask for a roll call on the emergency, please.
Kathy Fleisch.
Oh, okay. That's what we already did.
We did the motion.
Never mind, never mind.
I need the roll call on the emergency first.
Kathy Fleischer. Yes. Dick McLean.
No.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John McCary.
No.
Scott Riley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
No.
Kevin Parvis.
Yes. Then do we call a roll call on the ordinance?
No, emergency failed, so it goes to first reading.
Okay.
Jim Bradley.
No.
Kathy Fleischer.
No.
Dick McLean.
No.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John McCary.
No.
Scott Riley.
Yes.
Kevin Parvis.
Yes. All right, next is ordinance O-27-25. An ordinance appointing and setting the wages and benefits and establishing the terms of employment for the Economic and Community Development Manager for the City of Portland, Ohio. We are going to take the emergency off of this ordinance. This will be a regular 3-reading ordinance, so it is not an emergency. And the same thing will fall off with the next one, mentioned under the next one as well. So may I have a motion on the ordinance O-27-25?
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I'd just like to make another statement. Like Kevin said, I'm not requesting an emergency. However, I feel it's important to emphasize this point that I've been advocating for this position since January 22nd of 2025. That's the first time that it appeared on the agenda. So council has been aware of this since January.
And we'll go one step further by saying by taking it off emergency, we let it now becomes a 3 ordinance, which would take us through the end of the second meeting of June.
Correct.
So, I'll just put that out there, that this will be June, middle of June will be the 3rd meeting, or 3rd reading. Questions, comments?
Kevin, I've got a couple questions. I don't know if it's appropriate in the open meeting, but I'll ask them and you can tell me whether it's out of line or whatever, okay? We're talking about a position here for Economic and Community Development Manager. It's an hourly rate, $28.70 an hour, if I read this correctly. And it is eligible for overtime, if I understand it correctly. Will this person, in this case Jeffrey, will he be in a situation where he'll be working some other clients as well, at the same time he'll be working here? The only reason I ask is because how will we determine if he is entitled to an overtime? Is he gonna do a time report? Is he gonna do some type of a reporting, that identifies that he has in a certain week incurred overtime? I mean,
So the way the ordinance is written, Dick, is that he is going to be hired within the administrative department of the city, so the oversight would be by the mayor, and he would need to justify any of his overtime to her office.
But everybody else does a time report, is that correct?
No,
I don't
they
know
fill
the
out a
answer.
time card.
We fill out time cards,
Time card,
Mm-hmm.
he does?
Well, he's going to under this ordinance.
Okay,
And everyone else in the city does the same.
okay. On the first page of the ordinance here, under section 3, longevity, it talks about after 3 years, there'll be a 3% increase, after 7, there'll be a 5%, after 11, there'll be a 7%, and so on, on that list. Are those percentages based on his starting wage or on the wage that he will have at that point in time?
That's it, so
That-
can I answer that?
Yes, please. Go right ahead.
Okay, that will be at the wage he has at that time, so when he hits the 3 years, it'll be 3% of his base wage.
Should we say that on here?
It's standard, that language is
It's
standard.
standard, yeah,
In the city.
So it's really
In the
like a
city.
3%, a 2%, a 2%, it's not like,
yeah, he's not,
Like at
yeah,
11.
so, yeah, so he'll already be at, so let's just say he's at the 3%, now he's entitled to 5%, it's only 2% more, it's not 3 plus 5, that's what you were saying, yeah. But it is based on whatever wage at the time he hits his 3-year mark, he will get that percentage, then whatever
On
time
top
he
of
hits,
that wage that he's at that
yeah.
time? So,
So like, let's just say $20, you know, it'd be 60 cents on top of the fee.
And that's
There's
same
some other
language
things
as
in
in all
the-
of our contracts.
Yes, that's standard language for every contract.
So it's not unique to this position.
Every
it's standard.
contract is
Yeah.
non-union and union, it's all the same.
correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some other things in here that I thought we were trying to work away from, particularly under other provisions, the essential worker pay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I didn't wanna step
No,
out of turn, okay.
You negotiated the current contracts that we're gonna vote
With
on.
the current contract, the police and fire rolled in their essential worker, their hazard duty or healthcare incentive, however it's worded in their contract. Except for the service department, they did not. We could not get that negotiated in. When the non-union contracts are, when the mayor writes up the new non-union contract, past practice, it has mirrored the service union. And we talked about that. The service department did not roll theirs in, and, that's why that was in there like that, because they did not roll it. So that contract sort of mirrors the service union, like the other non-union contracts do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
and I had a question about the pension pickup. I thought we were going forward, maybe not going to do that anymore. With this,
Once again,
same thing.
with
So
the
everybody can
union
do it.
contracts, we talked about it in the very beginning, due to different circumstances, it would be better if we did that in the next negotiation. If they would want to mid-contract, negotiate that, it's an MOU that we can do, and we've talked about that already. But right now, across the board, it was not negotiated in, that's one thing we did not get in there. We got quite a bit, but we did not get that. Therefore, that did not change either.
Yep, John.
Kevin, was this position posted?
It was not. I will tell you, this candidate, or this Jeffrey has a unique set of qualifications, okay? He's worked for the city for 3 years. He started as an intern. He's, in that time, received his associate's degree, his bachelor's degree. He will be getting his MBA. this fall, either in October or by December. His contacts, both in the valley, businesses and nonprofits, local, state, and federal, his network of contacts is unmatched. And he has a proven history bringing $3.1 million to the city of Portland, which, as you know, we hired 2 professional grant writing firms, and they brought nothing. So I'm confident in his ability to do that.
The reason I bring it up was at our April 21st meeting, we talked at length that it would be posted, that's why I asked.
My question is gonna be, you let me know, O26, 25, which I just voted on, I voted no on that, just as, one vote for me, mainly just because we're talking about independent contracting, which was worded in that. This one is worded that the above would be named an employee. So there's a full-time employee of the city, working at the purview of the mayor. How will Jeffrey also accepted a position with the village of Orwell. So how will that work out?
Like I
Or
said,
has there been some kind of, schedule already created or something?
first he needs to be hired, and then we can create a schedule per se, but I don't schedule anything, with the firefighters, the police, the service directors, or the service department workers who have positions outside of the city. Nobody asks about those. So I have to ask why you're singling him out.
I'm not saying it's not, I just know the nature of the job is going to be economic and there's gonna be grant writing in this job. I wanna make sure, I'm only up here on behalf of residents, As you put me here and as I have to ask these questions on behalf of the people that expect me to ask them, I wanna make sure that when we're going after grants and whatnot, that to ensure that the city of Portland is put first over any other entity that he may be working for. Not that he can't work for them, but maybe it's just more of a comment to ensure that the city of Portland is put first. So our citizens are put first.
I can guarantee that.
Dick, I wanted to address something that you had mentioned at one of the other meetings about, the current contract, that we have with the vendor to do grant writing. This allows us to let that go through, and then instead of doing another one, to then just pick it up. Remember, we were talked about midterm changing the terms of that consulting agreement. This, by doing the 3 readings, allows us to address that issue that you had brought up earlier. Other comments? Okay, since we don't have an emergency, we're gonna go. Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the ordinance, please?
Dick McLean,
No,
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Bucuri,
No.
Scott Rowley,
yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. All right, next ordinance is O-28-25, an ordinance authorizing the city of Cortland to pick up the statutorily required contribution to the Ohio Public Employees Retirement System for a certain employee of the city pursuant to IRC Section 414H2. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Kevin, can we take the emergency
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
language off of this
Yes.
one too?
I had mentioned that and then forgot, yes. O-27-25, we had taken the emergency off. This one reflects back to that same position, so therefore we're gonna take the emergency off of this one as well. So this will go through 3 readings.
It will go through 3 readings, and I'll have the finance director can speak to this, but I believe OPERS requires that this statute ordinance become effective same time as the hiring ordinance. So we will have to adjust the first line in section 1 to effective June,
Is it the
July
16th?
I'm sorry?
Is it the 16th? That's the third meeting. OPERS will not let the effective date cannot be for the signature date or the passage date. The effective date has to be the same as the
June
passage
16th.
date or after. It cannot be before.
So when you vote on this,
That's, you'll have to change the language, because it says May 19th.
it will be effective June 16, 2025, and that's how it will read in the second reading and third reading.
Yes. Or it will fail with OPERS and we'll have to do it all over again.
Okay.
All the other language, the substance of it will remain intact that you're voting on.
Thank you for catching that, Patrick. Any other questions, comments? Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
John Bucuri,
No.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
No,
Don Moore,
Yes.
Kevin Byron.
Yes. Okay, ordinance O-29-25, an ordinance establishing the wage rate of seasonal part-time employees of the City of Portland Service Department. This is an emergency submitted by the interim service director. May I have a motion, please?
so moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved. Kevin, if I may, I want to abstain on this vote. My son just graduated from Lakeview High School and has applied for the part-time, seasonal work. So I don't feel that I should vote on this.
Thank you, Jim. Noted, and
I'll second the emergency,
Thank you.
since you have that one.
And the reason for the emergency is because we need to hire these individuals, yesterday, basically, as soon as possible, in order to, perform the seasonal employee, work in the city of Portland. Is that correct, Mayor?
That is correct.
Thank you. Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes?
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Bucuri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Abstain.
Kevin Byron.
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Jim Bradley,
Abstain.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes?
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Bucuri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Kevin Byron.
Yes. Okay, ordinance O-30-25, an ordinance authorizing the interim service director to purchase office furniture for the city of Portland. This is an emergency submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second? We're on to ordinance O-31 now, right?
Yes.
Ordinance O-31-25, and ordinance amending ordinance O-66-23, and updating the purchasing procedures for the municipality of Portland, Ohio. This is the first reading submitted by the finance director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Third.
Second.
Patty? Come on up to the podium.
Thanks, I've been up here all day. We're talking about the purchasing procedures.
That's right.
Okay. When I first started, it was 2,500, to get 3 bids, 3 quotes. We couldn't buy anything for 2,500 without continually coming back to council, just normal operating supplies. We raised it to 5,000. The bidding threshold was 50,000 at that time. So the bidding threshold changed to 75,000, and it goes up so many percent every year, 3% every year. So we changed the ordinance of getting 3 quotes to 7,500, 10% of the bidding threshold. that will help, like, some of the police chief, some of the stuff he buys, cartridges for tasers and things, and just little normal operating things is getting up there, so he'll be coming back. A couple things the service director wanted to buy. It's just, little operating things, once again, are starting to creep up there, get very expensive. So, we met with the finance committee, and 7,500 is the threshold we'd like to put on that. And then, the bidding threshold, because it incrementally goes up 3% every year, we put that to tie into the Ohio Vice Code. So we're not constantly having to change that every year it goes up. It'll be whatever the Ohio Vice Code is, will follow.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Any questions?
This is going through readings again? This is going through readings, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick, I have a question, sorry. The fourth whereas, it was just caught. Should that be section 8? I should have caught it earlier, and I apologize, I did not catch that. Or section 7.
Well, in my mind, we were referring to section 7,
With
which
the vehicles?
is the vehicular purchasing by the department heads, which we
Okay.
changed the last time,
Okay,
so I think we're okay.
okay, I just wanted to double check,
Yeah.
I've seen that, and like I said, I apologize, I didn't ask prior to, but I wanted to check it.
Yeah, we're
since we were
leaving
in our
that
first
alone,
reading.
where each department head can purchase
Correct.
vehicles
Okay.
specifically.
All right, other than that, any questions?
All right, Rhonda, can I roll call, please?
John Burcheri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes?
Don Moore.
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. Okay, ordinance O-32-25, an ordinance providing for the council of the city of Cortland, Ohio, to approve and accept a 3-year contract between the city of Cortland and the Cortland Police Patrol officers. This is an emergency submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
Comment?
The reason for the emergency is we need to get this, this has been delayed for a number of months as negotiations, and this is actually long overdue, so we need to get, these contracts in place as soon as possible. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get them passed and, within the limitations of, State Employment Relations Board, so, yep, that's appropriate. The emergency is appropriate.
Thank you, Patrick. Any questions?
I just have a comment. Again, this is submitted by the mayor because that's a duty, one of my duties under the charter. However, there was a team that did this, okay, did all of these contracts. So they need to be recognized because this has been a month-long process. And, so our finance director, Patty Gibson, was on the team for all contracts. Our vice president of council, Don Moore, as the chairman of the finance committee, also was involved in all 3 contracts. I'd like to recognize that each department head worked on their respective contract and thank the union representatives because, again, this has been a long time and you guys have done an excellent job, so, thank you.
Yes, thank you, and everybody involved. And if there's no other questions, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes?
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Burcheri.
Yes.
Scott Riley.
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. And now on roll call on the ordinance, please.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes?
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Burcheri.
Yes.
Kevin Pirate.
Yes. And, okay, next we're going to move on to ordinance O-33-25. An ordinance providing for the council of the city of Cortland, Ohio to approve and accept a 3-year contract between the city of Cortland and the Cortland Firefighters IAFF Local 3632. This is an emergency submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second?
Again, same thing as before, that in order to, get these contracts with the union and meet all of our obligations, they need to be, passed in emergency, for compliance. Correct? Yes, sir?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes, and now the ordinance, please.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, last ordinance is ordinance O-34-25, an ordinance providing for the council of the city of Cortland, Ohio to approve and accept a 3-year contract between the city of Cortland and the Ohio Civil Service Employees Association. This is an emergency submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
Move. Second.
We have a motion on the emergency, please.
So moved. Second.
Again, pursuant to, obligations from the state and the union, this also needs to be passed in emergency for compliance. Any questions? Can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes, and now the ordinance, please.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, that concludes our new business. We do have one item, on the agenda to consider. Everyone has a copy of the letter in front of them from the finance director. So I need a motion for the approval to write off 2 outstanding and uncollectible utility accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Real quick, Patty and her department pursue these aggressively, then she runs them by me just to verify, that they're basically uncollectible, and it would cost the city more money to go after them through, my office, the law office, the law department, and, so it makes sense when she comes to you to ask for authority to write it off, that she's done all of her due diligence, and it's appropriate that these get written off.
And I add, we also had a finance committee meeting and discussed it also, finance committee. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Patty. Any questions? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Burkiri,
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. All right, we move on to reports. First up, Chief Morris, Police Department.
I want to echo the mayor's statements about the negotiations. I thought the city team did well, but also commend our union, at least on the police portion. We had a very good dialogue back and forth, got a lot of good stuff worked out, so I appreciate both sides in their work. Other than that, I have nothing to offer, not being willing to entertain any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief. Chief Ray, Fire Department.
I'll echo those sentiments that David did. We had a very long time and long discussions over it, but I think it worked out a good contract for both sides, and we'll continue to work. You know, on the next one, someone else will, not me, thank God. Anyways, I was hoping to be the first to push this new purchasing agreement, so on the next, I'm hoping the next council agenda, you will see a $6,000 sum charge, I don't got the exact numbers, for repairs to one of our ambulances. Our older ambulance, we sent it in for an oil change, was having some pulsating through the front end, and we were like, get up under there and see exactly what's going on. Well, they did, and, you know, it has a few repairs that need done, but it has over 100,000 miles on it. So, you know, like they do circuit T-belt, probably new rotors, new brakes, new, I would imagine new calipers, probably some new wheel bearings and stuff like that. So that adds up. That is the one that we're replacing, hopefully this time next year, a new unit will be in, so, that will, that hopefully should be the last big one we spend on it.
We ordered that 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a 2-year bill on new ambulances, and now fire trucks are 4 years. So, not to be outdone, our other squad this weekend decided it didn't wanna run while at idle, so it is also down getting looked at. Last time it was a relatively simple fix, so I'm hoping it's the same thing, on that one. We'll know more when they come back, but, yeah. I'll have $7,500 to spend on that one about. No, I didn't wanna, I just wanted to let you guys know, that that'd be coming, you're going, what the heck's this? It needed done. We can't wait to have a council meeting or to get it done.
So we're borrowing Mecca.
We borrow Mecca's under contract, we borrow Mecca's, and we borrow one from Johnson. So, yeah, what I do is I let our insurance company know so that they are not covered under our policy, and our guys are covered to drive them. And when we send them back, I just send them the thing back, say, take them off. So, yeah, we have 2 units, Johnson runs 3 units, Mecca has an extra one that we borrow under contract.
Chief, a related question, with the closing of the hospital, the old Trumbull,
Yes.
were you taking everybody to St. Joe's now?
That's funny.
Boy, these guys would be happy if they got to do that. No.
They're gonna go, yeah.
No, well, we've always, taken within reason to where the family wants, where the patient or family requests. St. Joe's cannot handle the patient flow. It's the bottom line. They're gonna try to improve it, but they can't. So, you know, we have seen more transports to Youngstown, Boardman, Akron Children's in Boardman, Geauga, Geauga, we haven't gone to some of the other ones yet, but, the summer season is upon us, so people are gonna be out doing stuff, so I'm, little interested to see what that brings us. I expect more transport to further facilities. Now, let alone when the fall comes, if this is not resolved when flu season hits. And we're in amongst that again. So, yep, we'll deal with it at that time. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
If I ever call you, you want a dose, I'd like to go to the Cleveland Clinic.
Well, yeah, they're getting closer, so you
Well,
might
I
get
don't know.
that. So, any other questions? Oh, yeah, my monthly report.
How about that?
All right.
Thank you. And, service director's not here, do you have anything?
No, he just submitted the report, yeah.
Patty, finance
You
department.
do have my report. I also want to echo, thank the negotiating team we worked with and the department heads. I called and texted them numerous times to go back and forth on stuff, so I appreciate them taking my phone calls. I've given you guys a recap of everything. If you have any questions, just let me know. Feel free to ask. Other than that, I have no further questions, but thank you for passing them an emergency. We can get working on records.
Well, being a first-time member of the negotiating team, thanks, Scott, I appreciate that. I would like to commend you and the department heads, it was interesting experience, I know you did a ton of work putting that stuff together, and, so did the department heads, and, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor's report.
I have no report.
Any questions? All right, committee reports. Any committee reports this evening? Any announcements, by the way?
On committee reports, let me just say that, Monday's a holiday, as you well know, 26th Memorial Day. We had an MVG meeting scheduled for Tuesday night, but we also have a downtown event coming up Wednesday night, so I'm gonna cancel the MVG meeting, and, I'll poll everybody and see when we can try to reschedule that.
Thank you. You wanna just pick it up and keep going with the festivities for Memorial Day?
Memorial Day, once again, as last year, I will guarantee it won't rain. But I didn't do so well on that last year. At 2:00 on Monday, May the 26th, we are going to dedicate the bridge over here on South High Street to all Cortland area veterans. The signs are up, as the mayor alluded to earlier. We had a backup plan in case that didn't happen. We had a couple easels we were gonna put the signs on, cover them and uncover them. But, we have authorization from Washington DC that we will have a flyover at 2:00. The only glitch to that is, you have to be sure you get it scheduled with the local military, who may or may not be on a mission that day. So, we are announcing it with our fingers crossed that we will have a flyover from the Air Force Base out here. The community band is going to perform. We have a special speaker lined up, I won't get into details, but, our local Medal of Honor recipient, Ken David, is gonna make some remarks, and the mayor agreed to present a proclamation to him, which we're very grateful for, and I think that'll be worthwhile. We encourage everybody to come, whether you're a veteran or not, and bring a chair. We're gonna be set up on the bridge. And the police are looking forward to detouring the traffic. They have a plan, so we're ready.
Is there a plan for inclement weather?
Yes, we will be going to the Cortland Christian Church in Fellowship Hall. We'll set it up that morning if we need to. And we will have somebody posted on the bridge to direct people up there in case we make the change.
Knock on wood. Because when we had the last flyover, that was, made the hair on the back of your neck stand up when it went across. So, all right, thank you, Dick. Now that information is posted on our website? Okay, perfect. All right. Any other announcements from council? Anyone from the audience wishing to ask questions of council? All right, well, that being said, next thing is I will ask for a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved. Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Kathy Fleischer,
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes?
Don Moore,
Yes.
John Kerry,
Yes.
Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kevin Pyro.
Yes.
Take care.